All right, here we are with the November 5th edition of the Parkview Building meeting. Celebrations we had this afternoon was one, Yoli's return from her European excursion. We failed to have her share pictures today during the meeting, so next time we have a staff meeting, we will have Yoli share some of pictures of her trip and share a little bit with us about what she was doing while she was gone. We received some very nice compliments from one of our Parkview parents who had been at our last Cardinal Way celebration. They shared with Mary Seiler how they were really impressed with the energy and just the cool things that were happening at the celebration, and we should be doing some more videotaping of those things and using them and putting them on our website to promote Parkview as a school of destination. The other thing that was shared is that the Cardinal Way has made it to CCD classrooms. One of our second graders shared in CCD class that if all of us just followed the Cardinal Way, we would all be better off. So that was very kind of cool news to see that we are stretching the Cardinal Way beyond the walls of Parkview. And we did ask and have some conversation about how Logan Meyer's family was doing. We will be making some contacts with them and just letting them know that they are still in our thoughts and in our prayers. Laura Hertini was with us this afternoon. She shared a presentation on what our challenge programming for the school district is going to be looking like as the year proceeds. She shared with us her role and how she'll be working with the teachers and helping with those learners and extending their learning as needed. She will be sharing her presentation, and we'll have a link to the presentation on the action agenda that you will have received so that you can refer back. A quick one for the classroom teachers is last week after our math expressions in service, you had your classes put into Think Central, which becomes then a way for students to be able to access activities at home with regards to our math curriculum. And they should be able to log themselves in by their grade level and be able to get information. So how they're going to log in, their username is going to be their first initial and their last name. So we will pick, I'll do M. Meyer, who's a first grader with us. And then the password is 12345. And when you hit login, it will ask if you are indeed this particular student. If teachers decide to put assignments in here with due dates, etc., there's a things to do. But if the children go to My Library, what they will find is their student activity book, math tools, and then Mega Math for grades K through 6, that then they can be using and accessing these things while they are at home as well. So again, every student at Parkview, the one thing that we might have to make adjustments for is they were grouped by their homeroom teacher, not by their math groupings as they stand for second grade and for first grade. So that would be some adjustments we will need to make. But again, we do have access to Think Central now, and students can access that information from home. The other thing that we did talk about was just some ideas of other things that grade level teams can be working on, content area teams can be working on as we proceed through the year, especially for those Wednesday afternoon meetings that you have team time. So I had generated a document that just kind of takes the 4 big questions of the PLC. What do we want them to know? How are we going to know when they've learned it? What do we do if they haven't learned it? And what do we do if they already know it? So what I did is I took those 4 questions and just kind of fleshed out some different things that can be being done, tasks, work that can be done as your team is continuing through the school year. So what we want them to learn, this would be focusing on making sure the curriculum that we are taking and working on daily with our kids is mirrored in our written curriculum, what it is that we have written down in BYOC specifically. So adjustments we'll need to be making as we proceed through the year, as you proceed through units, can go directly into BYOC. The other things that can be done is you can work on making sure those essential understandings for your courses are included on that first course page. You can make sure that your learning targets have been identified for each of your topic areas. And again, just verify that what we are entering into BYOC is reflective in what we are teaching our learners over the course of the year. The other piece, and we kind of pulled back on this, and I'm comfortable with it, it's still something that I think needs to get done, is being able to take those learning targets and put them not into the teacher speak language that is necessarily part of the BYOC curriculum, but simple I can statements and quick statements that can be shared with both our learners and our families, so they know when we start a unit, these are the things that your child's going to be able to do, or the child can say, these are the things I'm going to be able to do at the end of that particular unit. We'll focus on the BYOC right now, and then kind of work at training up those, creating those family-friendly and learner-friendly targets as we continue forward. With regards to how do we know when they've learned it, that's the conversation in regards to and work you can be doing in terms of creating and developing common formative and summative assessments for the units that you are doing in reading, in writing, in mathematics. We'll focus on those areas, but know that we also have to work on still our social studies and our science for those areas. I did give an example of math spreadsheets that have been created for, again, all of the grade levels, K through 2. We were given these spreadsheets by the Math Expressions Company when we purchased the curriculum, and we have added all of the classroom names, all the student names and whose homeroom they are in to each one of these documents, so that now as you and your team are giving these assessments, you should be able to go in and mark if there's a particular question that the students didn't get right, put an X there or some sort of a mark there so that you know that, and then you should be able then to have data for the whole entire grade level and be able to start to see where there were maybe areas that concepts weren't understood or weren't, that were missed somewhere along the line, and then figure out how you're going to go back and readdress those concepts so that students are walking away with them mastered. So again, every grade level team for each unit that they have for math now has the students' names and classroom teachers listed along the side, and that can be used for the team to start to look at grade level data for math. Similar work can be done with regard to reading. Similar work is already done with regard to writing using Lucy Calkins. The last two, what do we do when they have not learned the information? And what we are saying are our items to be mastered. So as a team, you can start to determine what plans or adjustments need to be made for additional instruction, whether it's during pie time, whether it's during another time in the course of your day, during work time, during a math hour or a daily 5-hour. And then what do we do when they already know it? And how are some ways we extend and we stretch the learning for our advanced learners? Again, information that Laura had talked about earlier in the meeting. Again, you have a link to this list of things to do. Again, this is for grade level teams or content area teams. All of this is, again, ideas and things that you can be working on as that team. This is all work that is going to need to be done. The BYOC, Lee has asked that we have BYOC content updated by the end of this school year. So again, that is work that we can be doing. I will be offering a little BYOC in-service for any teachers, especially new teachers on staff who want to kind of see how BYOC works and how you go about entering in the data. I'd be happy to do a little in-service, and I will set a date and let you know what date and time that will be. And we'll have a little BYOC fun, probably before school one morning. The redogs, we are going to have the redogs start returning to Parkview starting next Monday. The other thing we are going to do is we are going to have the redog ladies, the BARC group, do their safety presentation earlier this year. And we're going to check to see if they would be available to come on that 2-day week we have leading up to Thanksgiving and either on the 24th or the 25th or sometime between both of those days, bring the dogs in and go over the safety procedures and the safety presentation that they share with us, normally at the end of the school year. End of the day routines. As I shared with the staff who was in attendance at the meeting, we've had a couple of sneaky kindergartners who take advantage of having a substitute in the building. We've had it happen twice now where they decide they want to not follow their normal end of the day routine to do something different. So I need to just request that end of the day routines, whether or not they're a bus rider, walker, picker upper, etc., that those plans for what those learners are supposed to do are both clearly identified within your subplans and also posted at your door. So even if it's somebody who's hopping into your room at the end of the day just to cover the dismissal, knows what they need to be doing and where those learners need to be going. I guess my other thing would be, do not believe kindergarten friends when they say they are going to do something different than what their end of the day plan says, because we've got some sneaky little ones that we have found within that kindergarten classroom, but it would happen in any grade level. Other reminders, if you are interested in helping decorate downtown Mayville on Friday, we'll start about 3:15 and we'll start at the library. We've got 24 poles to decorate downtown and get the garland and the lights up. Reminder that if you have not already taken the SAS, which is the self-assessment survey, as part of our PBIS programming, please make sure that gets done. And the window's open through Friday, November 7th. And then the Cardinal Way team will be taking a look at that data. Bloodborne pathogens, we've been delinquent. We need to take care of bloodborne pathogens. So please have your bloodborne pathogens quiz completed by November 25th, which is that Tuesday of Thanksgiving week. You can find the bloodborne pathogens on the Moodle, and you should be able to locate it there. And then finally, Lee had sent out an email about Friday morning's in-service. For Parkview, we're going to listen and learn about the Smarter Balanced assessment, as we are the foundation leading up to that third grade Smarter Balanced test. We need to know what things we can be doing here at Parkview to best prepare our learners for that assessment. We do have some resources for the math portion, and we can start to find some resources for our literacy and ELA portion to prepare our kindergarten through second graders as well. So we've got 3 years to get them ready for those types of questions, etc., knowing that in third grade they're going to have to take that assessment. So we'll listen to a presentation on Smarter Balance, and then at 9:30, I believe, I'd have to check Lee's agenda, but then we will be able to have team time from that point on during the day until 11:15, and that can take place at Parkview, so we're able to move back to our own classrooms. And after 11:15, then it's time for you to be able to even work individually and finish up your grading, etc. So that wraps up our assessment of today's building meeting. So if you weren't in attendance at the building meeting, by all means, take a look at this webcast and get a little bit more information. If you still have questions, just let me or anybody on your team or anybody else in the building know, and hopefully we'll be able to answer them. Thanks.